Welcome back to another edition of Keys to the Game. In this segment, we're going to be talking about slumps, being in a slump. Now, before we get started, make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button to just stay tuned into all the things we talk about basketball and keys to the game to help you improve your game. Let's get straight into it. So, being in a slump. I can talk about this right now because I am in a shooting slump right now. And it happens to all of us. It's always going to happen. You're going to hit a shooting slump. And when I say a slump, I mean I'm 1 for like 15 for my last threes. That's a slump. 0 for 9 the last 2 games, 1 for 6 the game before that. That is a shooting slump when it comes to shooters, but you have to remember and understand that it's part of the game. You're not always going to be on fire and your game is supposed to be on par every single game. Now, the difference in the slumps you have in between games, that's a different thing. But throughout a whole season, you should always hit a slump at least twice throughout the season. For me, I know it always happens kind of like in the middle towards kind of the midway sometimes, and then for some reason it always happens right at the beginning of playoffs. Always. But then when it's time for the finals, it always picks back up. I always get out of that and I just be back rocking. I don't know why that is. That's not every situation, but it has been a common thread that I've noticed about my game. And that's a big part about knowing your game, knowing when you get into these slumps and what you have to do to get yourself out of it. Because it's a big difference from saying, hey, I'm in a shooting slump or I'm in whatever situation I'm in, but actually acknowledging that, knowing the signs of when you get in a slump and what you do to get yourself out of it faster. So you're not getting stuck in that motion at all times. Because as of right now, we're in the playoffs. We had a game. I didn't particularly shoot it well, especially from the 3. I was like 3 for 5 from 2, but I was taking a lot of threes. Wasn't hitting my threes. Does that change that I'm not a shooter? Of course I'm a shooter. At the end of the day, I was still shooting before going into that game 39, 38% from 3. It's a pretty decent clip, you know. So you can't forget that you're still the player that you are. You're just going through a slump. I remember one time I was listening to a commentator of the NBA talking about James Harden. He was like, he's like 1 for his last 25 threes. Clay, Steph, they go through way bigger slumps than that when it comes to shooting because they take such higher volumes. They'll go 3 for 42 or something crazy like that. But it's just the situation of what they're in is just understanding that, hey, I'm just in a slump and shoot. Shoot. No matter what, I'm going to keep shooting. I'm going to keep doing my thing because I know the work that I put in. The work never stops. It's just this life. And I have to give a special thanks out to my coach. To real coaches or real play, like real coaches understand like, okay, he's just in a slump because he hasn't been playing like this since I've known him, you know. And it takes a good coach to understand that, especially if you're coming in as an import, to understand that, hey, I do got me a good player here. He's just going through a little shooting slump right now. And that's basketball because he, like we were talking after we had our practice today, for instance, and we were talking, and he was just like, how do you feel? I'm like, I'm just trying to get up out this little slump I ain't been making like I normally be. He was like, that's basketball. And I was like, yeah, as long as we win as a team, especially now being in the playoffs, all the other stuff don't matter because if you don't win, you can't even go on to continue to get your rhythm back because the season's going to be over with. And we're in a situation now where it's 1-1 and it's the best of 3 for this first round. So we have to win. So you have to be on point with your game. But when you have a good team that holds you down and you just can imagine, okay, well, when I get back right, we're really going to be clicking on all cylinders. And that's what something you always have to remember. Just stick to your game, stick to your work, because one thing about it, I know because I was like, I've been through these situations. Yes, it is a bothersome. Yes, it sucks that you got to go through this type of situation. And you're like, bro, I put in so much work. I put in so much work and I grind and I put, hey, that's just the way the game is. You're going to go through slumps. You're going to hit those times where you can't hit nothing. And then you're going to get, and then all of a sudden, well, it just depends on if you're that type of player that continuously put in the work and you trust in your work. Then no matter what, your overall who you are going to always show back up. I know the type of player I am. I always know that when it comes time to show up in the biggest moments or when it's time to get right, you always show up. You have to remember that about yourself and remember that about your game, that you put the work in to get you to a certain point, but that's if you're putting the work in. I never worry about myself being in the shooting slump anymore because I know the amount of work that I put into my game. I understand the work that I put into my game, like the mental level that I take it to, the shots that I get up before practice, after practice, the extra work I do to condition my body, all the little intangible things, stretching, all these types of things that one will do to just reach their highest potential in all forms. You got to have your legs strong, so I do extra workouts with legs so you can have a stronger base, because what's the first thing that goes out when you shoot? What do you say? You got no legs. So understanding the weight room is just as important in your shot as your actual shooting form, because it's the lift that you get on your shot. Because the first thing that goes is your legs. Not the touch, not the follow through, it's your legs. You're not getting enough lift on your shot. When you're tired, you try to shoot, first thing to go, legs. So understanding that, understanding the stability aspect of it, so where you have to stretch and also, do those extra weights. What kind of conditioning are you doing? Are you doing extra conditioning? I get up, I've done pretty much majority of the season, I'll get up and go run a couple miles, or I get on the bike and do about 7 or 8 to 10 miles on the bike throughout the week. I normally stop all that when it comes to the playoffs because I want to save my legs, but all that extra work is going to add up, because once you start getting deeper into the playoffs, that's when you're going to start understanding who's really been putting in that work to prepare for these moments. Because the people who get tired and the people who wasn't prepared for this moment, you're not thinking about playoff basketball and championship basketball by just doing the bare minimum of what everybody else does, because you're going to have to be able to outlast. And that's normally the team that wins, the most conditioned team, who can outlast you, who's not going to get tired in the fourth quarter or fourth quarter of game 3. Game 3, most guys be out because you ain't got no legs. Can you even survive long enough to get out of your slump? Surviving by playing, surviving by going to the next, like being more than just one dimensional. Oh, well, I'm a scorer. And I really don't even understand. I understand some guys, they be just like scorers, but at the end of the day, you got to be a basketball player. You got to do more than this. I just score. I do more than that than just for my team. And that's something I take pride in. I do more than that. They just posted a stat. I finished the league top 5 in steals. That means I'm helping my teammates out on defense. First in rebounding on my team. That means I'm helping my team secure defensive rebounds, and so we can have a better chance of winning the game. You got to do more to approach the game and help the game than just I'm a scorer, because everybody wants to be a scorer. Everybody thinks that's the best way to impact the game is by scoring. Yes, you do need to score. Yes, you do need to work on your game, but that's not the most important aspect to the game to affect the game. What else are you putting your hands on in the game to help you get out of this slump? Sometimes it could be getting assists. Sometimes you get in the rhythm of getting assists and getting your teammate going. That's going to get your game going. It's more to the game that's going to help you get than just shooting the basketball or just scoring. Getting somebody open, getting 2-3 stops in a row, that's just going to get your confidence up, because the game is about 80% confidence minimum. So if you could do all the other things to get you going and get you motivated and get you more inspired into the game, that'll help you get out of that slump a lot faster, because you're understanding that there's more to the game. I'm still impacting the game, because If you can't impact it on the scoring end, you're going to be thinking about how else can I impact the game. If you're out there getting stops, 3-4 stops, you get 7 rebounds in a row, you're going to feel that like, oh, I feel good. You're going to start feeling good. And when you start feeling good, you might take that shot cash because you already got the momentum going in you and you feeling good. So that's how you just drown out that situation of, okay, I can't hit right now. You got to always do something more to help you in all aspects of the game. Don't think of the aspects of the game. Now, if you out there not missing, if you're not out there missing and you're not getting back on defense and you're just getting scored on, then you're really going to be in some trouble. That's when it gets ugly. Because another situation is, yeah, you might be in the slump, but if you're also a defensive liability, then you're really not going to be on the court to be able to help nobody out, help your team out. Because you're a liability at this time, at this aspect of the game. You can't be a liability on the court. Yes, you could be in the slump, but you can't be a liability. You got to understand that. Don't let that lead to other parts of your game that don't let you be effective. Listen, that's all I got for this segment of Keys to the Game, of how you can just get out of a slump, and when you're in a slump, the type of things that you need to work on to help improve your game. That's all I got for you guys. Make sure you like and subscribe and send this to somebody out there who might be hitting the slump and just need that word of encouragement to help them get through their situation. That's all I got for you guys. Till next time. What's up, guys? I just dropped my new ebook, 6 Must-Have Steps to Be an Overseas Basketball Player. You know, I've been playing for the last 9 years. I got all the steps and the traits that you need to start your journey with networking, with getting a mentor, all the things that you need to start your journey to be a protege. So go get that ebook, click the link in the bio, and make sure you get your steps to being that overseas pro one day. Let's go. Hey guys, thanks for tuning into the show. Please subscribe on our YouTube, Spotify, Apple, and wherever you listen to your podcast. I greatly appreciate it.